Well, welcome. We're here today to celebrate a tough team, a storied football program. This year's Commander-in-Chief Trophy winners, the Army Black Knights. We're also joined by Army's football's biggest fans, Bill and Steve of the radio show Crawdad's Countdown to Kickoff. Well, thanks for making a trip from Alabama.
Welcome, Army sports fans, from sea to shining sea. This is Bill Crawdad Crawford, and this is Crawdad's Countdown to Kickoff. And as usual, the sound of my voice lets you know it's time to talk Black Knight football, 9-0 Black Knight football with back in the saddle after a well-deserved vacation.
Hiatus. I took a hiatus.
Took one of them hiatus. Steve Cripey, the human Ouija board, and Barrett, the Dirt Pig Crawford. How you guys doing?
Excited to be an Army football fan.
Yeah, what a great year. Hopefully the magic continues as we go forward. But great to be back with you guys, and I got an opportunity to go back for my class reunion, number 40. And that put it in perspective when we were back there. It said, so back when we were cadets, that's when the World War II vets came back. That's what it would be like. We like, holy smokes, I really am an old dude.
I mean, I haven't even hit my 10-year mark yet.
Well, next year, Barrett and I both have a reunion. His 10, my 45th. But more about that later as the time gets closer. But I want to talk a little bit about some business stuff for the show before we get going. First of all, the station is giving away some Army-Navy tickets. And these tickets are available. The station has them. All you have to do if you would like to win these tickets is go to the station's website, which is 977espn.com. There is a link that tells you what you have to do to enter the contest. And literally what you have to do is the link will take you to an email, and you have to submit a Patriot story or a tribute to a veteran. And there's going to be a committee of people, one of which is me, that will judge those entries, and you will get Army-Navy tickets. And
a committee of people.
A committee of me.
That just sounds bureaucratic. You say a panel of judges.
The college football playoff committee?
A panel of judges.
Yeah,
a panel of
send
judges.
them to the college football playoff committee.
Let them.
But you have to have your entries in by December 6th. So go ahead and do that. And our station would love to give you those tickets. Couple of other things. Our great sponsor, North Alabama Mortgage, NorthAlabamaMortgage.com. Go see them for all your mortgage needs, whatever they may be. Now is the time to do that. Rates are falling, and you can really take advantage of some good deals. And when you get your mortgage done, go to our other sponsor, Nick's Restaurante. Have a great meal and celebrate with all that new folding money you're going to have in your pocket. And as I say, Nick's is a driver and a pitching wage south of the intersection of Bailey Cove and Weatherly Road. Good. By the way, Tom Chapman, the owner, is now collecting boxes of goodies for soldiers. The boxes are right by the entry door. You put something in, he'll give you a 25% discount on your trip that night. And that's a pretty good deal.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And great place for a great meal.
Oh, yeah. Very yummy.
Oh, no doubt. Well, hey, let's talk a little bit about last week where we beat a team that
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Two weeks ago. Yeah.
North Texas beat them 14-3. They came in with one of the most high-powered offenses in the country. But what happened, guys? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was close to a beatdown. And the thing was, they scored on their first possession, a field goal, and they only had one punt in the game. Yeah. The rest, let me just read this down.
It's an odd stat.
Exactly. Field goal, turnover on downs, punt, interception. That was their possessions. And, we were talking about this before. Those two interceptions were like, was he trying to throw it to our guy kind of thing? And I don't know if we're showing man-to-man coverage at the line. When they send someone in motion, we send someone, convey that it's man-to-man. And do we drop back into a zone defense? Because it's hard for me to explain those because that quarterback was not prone to interceptions. But, here was an offense. averaging over 500 yards of total offense a game, held to under 300. Great job by the defense, and offense had 2 scoreless quarters there in the second and third, but the bookends were pretty.
Yeah, and I think too, North Texas came in here like number 2, number 3, passing offense in the country, and averaging 41 points per game. We held them to 3. Boom.
Well,
big defensive stop right here.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's another little hidden gem in what you just mentioned, Steve, and that's the fact you had a very short list of offensive possessions for North Texas. We held them to 6 possessions. Now, what does that mean? Well, that's the victory, the recipe for success against Notre Dame. We have to keep the offense off the field. Barrett, you have the exact time minute taker. How long was the one drive in the third quarter? Wasn't it
13 minutes, 48 seconds? We started from the 6-yard line, Army's 6-yard line, drove it down with Bryson Daly to score a touchdown, and just cut out all that time on the clock, which is amazing. It's the longest drive of the season, which is amazing.
And a couple of third and longs on that were just, you go, oh, little pucker factor. This is not our down and distance preference. But yeah, that was just an utterly a thing of beauty. In option football, eating it up. But you're spot on, Bill. We need a couple drives like that against Notre Dame, because Notre Dame, need to say, top 10 team, very capable on both sides of the ball. If we're constantly just giving it back to their offense, that's not a battle we can win.
It will be a bad day at Black Rock. And the other thing that I really liked about that, we had Bryson Daly, who missed a game. Backup played very admirably. Bryson Daly's okay.
He's okay. You
he
can tell
great.
He was out,
Yeah, and now that he's had another bye week, I'm very optimistic we're going to have the whole team there, very healthy, refreshed. But on that note, we could be looking at a big push here. Let's say perfect season is in our grasp, and we pull off the big upset against Notre Dame. On the heels of that, we've got a resurgent UTSA team. On the heels of that is the AAC championship game.
Oh yeah.
The week after that is Army Navy.
Big game.
And if we win all those,
we play Alabama in the playoffs.
yeah, the very next week we play a Power 5 team in the college football playoffs. Now, this is the thing. I mean, this is like talking Cinderella kind of stuff.
But it's there. The fact that it's attainable right now.
We're even talking about it.
No, and I think you have Notre Dame, which is the big game. I mean, that's a must win if we're even gonna consider going to the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
But the strength of schedule with Notre Dame, UTSA, Navy, and then Tulane, who's by the way ranked number 20th in the college football playoff too. So it is. Wow, looking at the last half of our schedule, you're just like, man, it's kicked up, and I think we can do it. I think Army's got the strength to kick it in the mouth.
Well, as Gene Stallings would say, well, you know what we got to do, guys? We just got to take this one game at a time, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to.
I had no idea that Gene Stallings sounded like Coach Oberon.
Coach Oberon would say, we're going to go out there, we're going to play all them people. We're going to eat chicken on a stick when we get through.
The one other thing I saw about the North Texas game, which it kind of gives me like, hey, we need to improve it. Going into this bye week, what we saw in North Texas with Army's offense was it wasn't the, hey, we're going to score 48 points this game. There were some struggles. There were some, it took us a while to get down the field, but why is that? Maybe we weren't blocking too well. Maybe we're just not getting in the holes or whatever. But I think there's a lot to improve with the defense. However, boy, that the defense just sharpened their iron with more iron and just stopped North Texas for goal line stands, end zone.
Goal line stand. Speaking of a thing of beauty, but one of the things that Monken did say in the post North Texas presser is North Texas gave him a look on the defensive line that they had not shown all season long. And one of the comments I made on our Facebook page was, we need to expect something like that. I mean, you're talking Notre Dame, we're talking next level staff, analysts that are looking at tendencies and stuff like that. I think we will very well especially with having played Navy, having faced a, ground-based, option-based offense. Notre Dame's going to give us a new look, and we've got to respond and make those adjustments much quicker than we did against North Texas.
Well, if you happen to watch the Navy Notre Dame game, you would really see what we absolutely do not need to do, and that's turn the ball over and play like crap.
Oh.
But we're going to go ahead. Bailey's going to take us out of here for a break. And when we come back, we'll be joined by the offensive line coach, Matt Drinkall.
Always a good interview.
Always a good interview. And I'll tell you guys also why I liked about North Texas was what I didn't see. That sounds crazy, but hey, I am. So back in a few with Coach Drinkall.
I'm Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Did you know that?
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Did you know that average home equity is at an all-time high, but so is average consumer debt? Even though rates are higher now, you can use your equity to pay off your high consumer debt, student loans, etc., then refi when the rates drop. Don't put off that new home purchase. When rates drop, prices will go up. Buy now and get the best price and then refi when the rates drop. This is the time to talk to the experts at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com for more information.
Organizations using Salesforce know how powerful the platform is and how much time, money, and headaches it saves if it's set up right and you know how to use it. Let's face it, Salesforce is complicated and time-consuming to figure out, and a lot can go wrong now and down the road without expert help. That's why most Salesforce users work with an implementation partner like Higher Echelon, so they get the absolute most out of their Salesforce investment. Higher Echelon is a 5-star Salesforce consulting partner who won Salesforce Military Hiring Partner of the Year. President Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets. He puts that experience to good use at Higher Echelon, where they pride themselves on hiring veterans. Look, not all Salesforce partners are the same. Don't put your company at risk by going with an inferior partner. Higher Echelon is the trusted partner you can count on to get you up and running and seeing returns on your Salesforce investment in a fraction of the time it would take if you go it alone. Go to higherechelon.com. That's HIGHERECHELON.com to learn more. Go higher and go Army.
Lots of wise and well-informed car buyers wait all year long for this time of year because they know year-end deals are worth the wait. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. We've got 700 Fords for you to choose from. And if you've had your eye on a 24 F-150, Explorer, Expedition, or Escape, listen up. Come and see us at Woody Anderson Ford today, and you'll drive home with no payments for 90 days, plus get financing as low as 1.9% for 60 months and $1,000 in bonus cash. This is good, and it bears repeating. Come get your best year-end deal on a 24 F-150, Explorer, Expedition, or Escape, and you'll keep your cash for the holidays and make no payments for 90 days. You'll also get financing as low as 1.9% for 60 months. Plus, we're going to throw in $1,000 holiday bonus cash. The year end is here, and we've got the deals that make it worth the wait. With your good credit, these offers end December 31st, only at Woody Anderson Ford. I'm Bobby White, and I hope to see you soon.
Flying nonstop from Huntsville is a breeze on Breeze Airways. They're nice people flying nice people to nice places on really nice planes. Let's be direct. Nonstop from Huntsville to the places you want to go. Las Vegas, Orlando, or Tampa starting at $49. It's time for a weekend getaway or a long overdue week away. Time to check in using the convenient Breeze app and check out. What are you waiting for? Book today at flybreeze.com. That's flybreeze.com. Breeze Airways. Seriously nice.
From Coleman to Fayetteville and all points in between.
Son, pull the hammer back. Smokey's coming at you in a plain white wrapper.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Bill Crawdad Crawford. This is Crawdad's Countdown to Kickoff. And we are joined now by our great guest, Coach Matt Drinkall. Coach, how are you doing?
I am doing well. How are you guys doing?
Good. We
Hey,
thought
Coach.
after listening to those commercials, you might want to hop on a Breeze plane and come down here and buy a Ford.
Sounds pretty good.
But I think we want you to stay there and coach that offensive line that is just playing outstanding this year. Give us a little bit about the keys to the success, because our offensive line, in my opinion, well, they're a finalist for the Joe Moore Award, but I think they've been pretty dominant this year.
The kids are doing a great job, and they deserve all the credit. I mean, the way this group has gelled together and how the whole group, they do a really good job. In the 23 years I've been coaching, this has been the best group, like emotionally, no really high highs, no really low lows. They are really consistent. They come to work focused every day and do a great job, and they hold each other more accountable peer to peer probably than even the coaches do. And then the other big ace up our sleeve that we have is Coach Beatty. You know, Coach Beatty, he is Coach Monken's right-hand man. He drives the culture not only for the offensive line, but for our whole offense and a lot of our team as well. So how tough he is, and he's a guy who's done everything through at West Point. So for those guys to be able to have a guy like him to look at as a leader that's been through it, I mean, you just kind of all those pieces coming together at the right time have been a really good thing. It's obviously worked out really well.
Oh, I would wholeheartedly agree. And you know, my personal assessment, my humble opinion, this is the best offensive line I've seen at Army in at least a couple decades. And you know, I've always read that from an offensive line standpoint, you need the individual talent, but what sets apart the great offensive lines is you instinctively know what the guy on the left and right are going to do on every single kind of play. How do you cultivate that kind of situational awareness and that kind of camaraderie and instinctiveness in the offensive line?
Well, those guys know that they're really the engine that drives everything. I mean, just numerically alone, they're 40% of the offense. So that alone, and the way we play football here, the Army football style and the Jeff Monken style, they know that really we're the catalyst and we're the engine that has to propel everything. So these guys have not only spent a lot of time together, they understand the importance of their role in the offense. And that we've made a couple like schematic changes that we really have become a hybrid of like an under center flex bone option with some pro style kind of bodies and techniques and complementary auxiliary plays. So the blending of all of that stuff together has helped out a lot. And then because it's a pretty, I study a lot of different offenses all over the place, and the kids, the scheme palette that our kids have to carry is maybe the most robust in college football. So they spend so much time, and they're able to really carry a lot on their plate mentally. It is unbelievable that so the group understands the value and they don't really have any time to do anything other than think about how, what's the next work to get done and how they do it together. And they do such a great job of being selfless and helping each other in position flexibility and jumping between center and guard or guard and tackle. And all of those things come together. I don't think it's any one big thing, but probably just an accumulation of a billion little things.
Well, Coach, you have the Army offensive line has been the same starters for the past 9 games, which is something pretty incredible. And we like it as Army fans. What are you guys doing in practice every day that's instilling this, this fundamental technique, this culture, this, hey, we're going to push a cinder block straight down the field? And what does that practice look like?
So the practices are pretty gritty. Coach Monken is a big believer. You do not waste a single millisecond of anything that you're doing. So which is really nice. He, as demanding and detailed as he is, it forces the coaches to produce a product that he wants. So from the second we get going with meetings, from position meetings to special teams meetings to walkthroughs to getting out on the practice field for individual work, which we get during special teams time. We can do pod work where we break up individually. Maybe it's one position group. And that's the cool thing with me and Coach Vitti. We can break up the offensive line between right and left, or the interior guys versus the perimeter guys, or front side and back side, or option side and zone sides. And some guys go work pass protection while other guys are working pulls. Like, so it just allows us to get so many more reps and conceptual teaching and learning throughout a whole practice. So we grind them pretty good. Now, I did mention we made a couple different philosophical changes as far as like a hybrid. So the biggest one is that our kids are so much more like they're bigger. So we took some of the stuff that like Coach Davis was doing when he was here, and we combined it with some of the stuff that we wanted to do moving forward as far as like recruiting bigger, longer kids that maybe, you probably see playing at other schools, as opposed to, the lighter guys that can run in straight lines really, really fast. So what that's done is that it's allowed us to play up on our feet way more. So during the course of practices and games, we're not quite getting tangled up as bad or our shoulders banged up. So, and combining that with how good of a job our strength and conditioning staff does with the training staff, keeping guys healthy, it's literally like a village of people getting these guys to the gate every week.
Hey, Coach, I have a question for you. A lot of folks, a lot of just casual fans, they look at the game and they see the quarterback doing his thing and calling his signals or whatever. But tell us what goes on the offensive line. I understand that you may have somebody like the center or somebody like that who's calling blocks as the play is getting ready to start. Give us a little insight into how that works.
Yeah, so we try to break. We try to categorize the offense into different pods or pools or buckets, and then from each one of those buckets, we'll come up and we have a communication system. So we break the huddle. And now this is actually a brand new thing, which has been really great. So no one uses signals anymore, really. You get to talk. Coach Worley gets to talk directly to Bryson Daly in the huddle now, directly ear to ear until the 15-second mark on the play clock. So what's been great this year is that he can not only get in the play call, but he can give a couple coaching points that he wants to, hey, remind the offensive line about this. Or so the offensive line, when they're hearing it, they're hearing the whole formation, they're hearing the play, they're hearing every detail that allows them to start hopefully building the play call and how the thing's going to process in their head before they ever get up to the line of scrimmage. One thing we talk a ton about it in our room at offensive line is trying to win every snap before it ever occurs. So thinking about your assignment, your fundamentals, and your leverage and your pacing and your hand placement and your strike and what the defense is going to be and where your eyes need to be before the ball. That's all things you can do before you ever even snap the ball.
Wow.
So we really want to get a process and procedure to go from the time that you hear the diagnosis of what the play is going to be until the time we snap the ball. How many different advantages can you gain over your opponent before we ever even snap it? So that way, when the play starts, we kind of talk about it like we want to be up 21-0 when the play starts, not behind 0-21. So when they go up there, it's all those things. It's IDing the defense, understanding if you're by yourself, if you're working with someone, communicating how that's done, and understanding, again, like your gap, your alignment, who's going to move. Everybody's got a triangle to read. So if you're going to see any pre-snap movement indicators from the defense. So there's a pretty big process, lengthy, but from the time really you get the play to the time of snap, there's a lot that goes on.
Wow, that is remarkable. I mean, that's next level stuff. But looking at some of the stats, Army's leading the country in rushing. It's almost becoming expectations in the Monken era. If we don't finish the season in the top 3 rushing, it's been a bad year. But one thing that is noteworthy, we're also number 1 in the country in team passing efficiency. So
sure,
we all know Daly's got to make the throws, but he can't make the throws if the guys in the trenches aren't doing their job. So how do you balance that in terms of the preparation, the technique, between having a great running offense and the running type blocking and the pass blocking?
Yeah, that's a tremendous question, because that has been an area of the offense that has evolved. Excuse me. So that's been really helpful for us. And when I say helpful, I mean making us much more difficult to defend. So with different bodies and different stances and postures that we play with, you can move a little bit better 3-dimensionally, meaning forward, backward, and side to side. So You're not quite as like run heavy off the ball, but you trade that for your ability to move in all three dimensions. So as a result, one of the biggest base staples of the offense that we run is inside zone, same as every other team in college football. So when you start to understand zone as a concept, what Coach Vitti and myself have worked really hard to do is how are we able to combine multiple techniques into kind of one teaching style. So then once you do that, people have to play such tight defensive techniques or be worried so heavily about the option running game that we see a little bit tighter fits and alignments than most people do. So we try really hard to marry a lot of our pass sets and protection series with our inside zone game. So that way, and then the masterful thing that Coach Worley does is he changes the launch point frequently throughout the course of a game. So we will, in the course of a game, throw quick game. We'll protect with a full zone protection. We'll protect with half man, half zone. We'll sprint out and move the pocket. We'll full zone and boot. So all of those things give relief to the offensive line that you don't just, it's not like an NFL game where you're just snapping the ball and throwing it from the same launch point, 41 times in a game. That's hard living. And that's not how Coach Monken wants us to win games, and that's not how we're going to win games. So,
excuse me, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Coach, one thing, we've been doing this little radio show. This is our 14th year, 13th year. I don't know, 15th. I don't know. I can't count. Been doing it
a while.
Been doing it for a long
Coach
damn
Vitti
time.
warned me about you guys. He said you guys are a good time.
Well, he's right. He's a good interview too. But in that long time we've been doing the show, one of the things about Army football that seemed to be a common denominator was pre-snap penalties on the offense. And it seems to me like that has been eliminated. How did you guys get rid of that? I mean, I can recall, coming out of a timeout, we jump off sides. Doesn't seem like we ever see that anymore. What's the trick? What's the secret sauce there?
Well, again, changing we've changed a lot of ways that the offense operates pre-snap to much like if you watch us pre-snap, it doesn't look like an old Paul Johnson offense. It looks closer to like when you see the 49ers play. So as a result, Coach Worley has done such a great job of like building in the pre-snap cadences that change up so frequently that you never really kind of get into a rhythm. I've been an offensive coordinator before, and I've fallen victim of you just kind of go on one so much that if you do anything different than that, it screws you up. So Coach Worley does an unbelievable job of like changing the cadences throughout all the game and all the time so that you're in a different rhythm. And then I complain more than anyone in college football, hopefully, about defenses who line up and try to, make certain calls that sound like your cadence to try to screw you up. So I think Coach Monken does a good job of trying to get on officials before the game starts so people stop trying to do that, because that's really been an issue for us in the past, without naming names of schools that do that.
Those damn squids. Hey, Coach, we really appreciate your time. One final quick question before we go on break. Notre Dame's a big team. They've got a lot of chutzpah behind them, but I don't think that our team is intimidated at all playing Notre Dame. Quick comment on that. Are these guys fired up and ready to go kick some butt?
Yeah, they're just incredibly focused. That's the cool part about this team. They are laser focused and professional all day, every day, and they just go about their business. And I think that comes from the top down. I think that's how Coach Monken does it. That's how Coach Vitti does it. That's how Coach Woody does it. That's how Coach Worley does it. Coach Saturnio. I mean, it's just business as usual. And the kids truly, it's an awesome experience here because the kids truly want to play their absolute best because they love one another. And it's not really about like we hate who we play. It's they love each other, and we have a high expectation to execute at a high level. So that's really what we're trying to do. And we want to do it the right way. We want to play really, really hard and really, really physical and see what happens.
Well, we'll see what happens Saturday. We're hopeful that we're going to go out there and give the Irish as they say around here in redneck land. What fur?
I'm from Iowa, and they say that in Iowa too.
Okay, it's universal. Yeah, we're excited. I mean, needless to say, there's an energy among the Army fandom right now that's been pretty exciting, and there's going to be a whole lot of people watching. And the thing that's been amazing, I run into probably more people that are anti Notre Dame than necessarily pro Army. So you got a good chunk of the nation behind you.
Yeah, like I said, I'm from Iowa. I grew up 2 hours west of Chicago, so it seems, and I'm Catholic, so everything in my whole world was Notre Dame growing up, and it seems like they've broken enough people's hearts at some point in time during the way that everybody's kind of bitter by the time they're older a little bit. So.
There you go.
Well, hey, Coach, get the mob going this week and flatten the Irish. And thank you for your time tonight.
Thanks, Coach.
Will do. It was great talking to you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, hey, glad you
Great to
could
have
give
you.
us some time. Bailey, let's go ahead and take our break, and we'll come back in a bit. And God, we got so much to talk about. I don't even know where to start.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
If you work in a dangerous or logistically intense industry, you know good training can be a challenge. There are training costs, safety concerns, and difficulty replicating real-world scenarios. There's a better way used right now in the Army and in all our armed services to better prepare our heroes, and it's available to you in your organizations. Higher Echelon's Game Development Team is revolutionizing learning in military training, dangerous industry, STEM, and sports performance domains with cutting-edge virtual training that immerses you in lifelike scenarios without the cost and safety concerns for trainees. With Higher Echelon's game-based training, you'll experience realistic simulations, precision accuracy, and unparalleled safety. Higher Echelon founder Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets and puts that experience to use. His team has been building cutting-edge virtual training environments for soldiers and clients for a decade. Higher Echelon, the name you can trust for advanced training solutions. Reach out at higherechelon.com to get your free consultation. Go Higher and go Army.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Are you thinking about home improvements? Well, use your equity now and refi later. Or use your equity to eliminate consumer debt forever, then refi to a lower rate and shorter term when rates drop. North Alabama Mortgage can also help you if you're thinking about buying an investment property or a second home at the lake or the beach or in the mountains. We have great programs to make that happen. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
You'll love the expanded wine selection at Liquor Express. From special occasion to everyday table wines, they've got what you need. Meet your friends at the largest tap hall in Alabama with 105 rotating selections. Then take home a growler full of your favorite or choose from our 1,000 canned or bottled beers. Need help stocking your bar or planning your party? Liquor Express has a knowledgeable, professional in-house staff that can assist you with anything from your bar to the planning of your special event. Visit liquorexpress.net for tasting specials, giveaways, and classes.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
But you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
There's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back, everybody, to the final half hour of Crawdad's Countdown to Kickoff. We all certainly enjoyed that interview, and I hope you guys did too. And just one little thing before we get started. We're playing Notre Dame. We've been playing.
No, really? Notre Dame this
Dame.
weekend?
That time?
This weekend. Yeah.
I'll be.
How about that? But I was going to say, this is, we've been playing them since 1913. We haven't won until 66 years ago, which is my birthday today. That's
Hey,
why I
happy
remember
birthday.
that. Happy birthday to me.
It's an omen.
But I wore my old-fashioned Army sweater that Vince Lombardi made famous because Vince Lombardi did a few wins against Notre Dame. But guys, you know, to me, it's fascinating. I know, Steve, you and I have been here for quite some time, and many a time at this juncture in the season, we'd be saying, well, you know, we got a chance if we win the rest of our games that we may be bowl eligible, but we may not get there unless they take the academic factors into account. I ain't saying that stuff this year.
Yeah, I mean, we were, you know, bowl qualified mid-season. So that was sort of off the table. We don't have to think about that and aspire to even greater things. But yeah, like we were talking, I mean, it's the fact that we're even talking about some of these possibilities is really testimony to the team's performance and what a special year this is. And again, you just, you know, hope the clock doesn't strike midnight in that. But I think all indications are, I mean, again, I posted sort of the weight differences. There was once upon a time, especially in the Ellerson era, where we were giving up 50 pounds a man. And we're right there with them. And so I think from a physical standpoint, and the coaching stuff, but I want to really zero in on one thing that the Coach Drinkall said, you know, that these guys love each other. And again, that's now the selling point when they recruit. You go to any other program, there's going to be a huge turnover in the roster due to, you know, the transfer portal, NIL, all these kind of dynamics where college football players are nothing more than mercenaries selling their services to the highest bidder. Here, you're going to come here, you're going to be in the trenches with the same group of guys, you know, for 4 years. And I think there's a cohesiveness there and a true brotherhood that is going to be progressively rarer and rarer in other football programs.
Yeah, and I think that brotherhood that you have and the fact that West Point has, you know, is allowing their players to get that big, and then hey, you don't have to worry about it, you know, until you get ready for that graduation date, but they're able to commission into the Army and make hell of an officer too. I mean, you look at an Army football player as an officer serving in the Ranger battalions or serving in the Green Berets or anywhere. I mean, they're just great. But no, I think that brotherhood takes a big factor into how well Army's been doing this year. And, you know, with the mob of the offensive line, Bryson Daly, the running back core, the defense, the defensive backs. I mean, it's all kind of meshing together. And Notre Dame is a stepping stone that we got to win. It's not oh man, you know, if we do it, you know, we got to win to make the college football playoff. And it's weird to say that, but it's also weird to think, you know, Ohio State and Indiana are playing this week, and that's a must-win for Indiana to win it. Army's got to beat Notre Dame. They got to beat Notre Dame to maintain that spot in the college football playoff and just be ready to go. And it's fun to watch, and I'm excited.
Well, you know, Steve, to address something you mentioned that I heard an interview of our athletic director, Mike Buddy, this week. And he was asked by the person interviewing him, you know, what he thought about the transfer portal and did that help or hurt teams. And what he said was telling, and you sort of alluded to that, is he said, in college football here at West Point, we recruit people from early in high school. We talk to their coaches, we talk to their parents, we talk to their pastor, we talk to their teachers, and we know we do a whole man evaluation. And when somebody comes to our program, we know that's who we want and that's who we can develop. And he said, on the other hand, on the transfer portal, when somebody enters the transfer portal, you may have 2 or 3 days to look at him, and all you're really looking at is his sprint times and his weights and this and that. And he said they may be physically superior but competitively inferior, and we're okay with what we got. And I firmly believe that, and that's kind of sort of what you were talking about.
Yeah, and on top of that, I just think the stars are aligning.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the individual talent, the cohesion, where the program is. You know, Coach Worley, how many times did Coach Drinkall mentioned Coach Worley's name.
Oh yeah,
and the transformation in the offensive culture and that. So really think things seem to be coming together. I don't think we're going to be outcoached. These guys have it going on. But you mentioned staying in the hunt for the college football playoffs. But let's pull the
I'm getting too excited.
But Notre Dame, the Notre Dame game could have implications, or likely will have implications on who hosts the American Athletic Conference championship game.
That's true.
So if we lose and we fall in the rankings, Tulane leapfrogs us. We both win our final conference game. Tulane hosts
because of the higher ranked team.
Yeah, so we're off to New Orleans.
And if for those who are listening who haven't figured out yet, we have clinched a playoff spot, or clinched a spot for the conference championship.
Yes. Yeah, it's
first time
so
in
the only
conference.
The only question mark is where that's going to be played. So each game, from here on out, through Army, Navy, and hopefully beyond, has significant implications. And so it's an opportunity. Talk about a transformational opportunity within the program. Are we up to the challenge? And I think if we prove that we are, who knows what the trajectory of this program is going to be in 2025 and beyond.
And you know what? Who also knows what sort of that will do towards West Point football for people saying, hey, this is a place where I wouldn't mind going. I would like to go be a part of that. And but a question I have for both of you guys is this: recently we've had some games against some Power 5 schools where we really did good. We took Michigan to overtime. We took Oklahoma to double overtime. What happens if we play Notre Dame and we don't win, but we do something like that? Is that going to hurt us very much, or is it going to be, well, hey, they did better than we thought they were going to do? They were a 16-point underdog.
I think it all depends on how the rest of the season. I mean, if we take Notre Dame to overtime, by the way, we're gonna kill them. What are we talking about? But if we take them to overtime, we lose in a close loss. We win out the season, beat Tulane, who's would probably jump us. I think it's a good conversation starter for the College Football Playoff Committee to consider Army to go in there. But if not, go to the Music City Bowl and play, Alabama if they don't make it, or Georgia.
Yeah, I think that would probably take us out of the running, because it just being a non-Power 5 program,
strength of schedule.
ESPN, who's the power behind the throne, and the College Football Playoff Committee are looking for an excuse to kick us to the curb. Now, we come back and beat Tulane. We could leapfrog them, but I think it'll effectively take us out of the running for those top 12 slots.
Well, there's a whole lot of football left to be played.
Yeah. Now, the one caveat: if Boise State steps on their schwantz, in their conference championship game, then we
if we win our conference championship and they lose theirs, then there we go.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a little bit closer look at Navy. I think one of you guys has the weight comparisons of the
offense. Navy or Notre Dame?
Notre Dame.
Yes.
Freudian slip there.
Yeah, always thinking about Navy. Yeah, and this is something I posted on the Facebook page, and I was actually surprised. I knew we'd be in the ballpark, but I was amazed at how closely. So Army's offensive line, our starting 5 up there, averaged 6'2", 307 pounds. Notre Dame's is 6'5", so they've got 3 inches on us. They like the
long arms.
Yeah, and if you know anything about offensive linemen, with height comes the longer arms, and to be able to hold off those defensive.
I don't know anything about long arms.
So yeah, you don't know anything about a long anything. But so 6'5", 306. So weight wise, we're toe to toe with Notre Dame.
There.
And actually on the defensive line, we average 6'3", 285. They're 6'3", but 279. So we're a little bit bigger than them. So from a size standpoint, boy, the Ellerson days are well in our rearview mirror. We've got physically, we're matching up, and as we just heard on from Coach Drinkall, from a scheme and schematic and coaching standpoint, I think we're right there with them as well.
Yeah, I think we match up to them, and physically, coaching wise, play call ability, our scheme of maneuver. I think what we need to do to win this game against Notre Dame is we need to control that time of possession.
Yeah.
We need to not give up the big plays, and our defense has got to step it up and get Notre Dame's quarterback to not make those big passes down the field, which, hey, we did it with North Texas. Let's see what we can do.
Agree all. The only caveat, time of possession and ending drives with points on the board.
Always got to have a point.
We can't afford to come away scoreless.
And we really need to come away with touchdowns. But we also need to come away from talking about this for a little bit and take a break. I'll lead us into break with just this one comment about the Rich Ellerson years.
And now it's time for Deep Thoughts with Bill Crawford.
Rich Ellerson's last year, the defensive line averaged 212 pounds. That's
a big step up now.
That's when I knew his time was limited. So, Bailey, let's go ahead and get out of here for our final break, and then we'll come back and talk about some more of this fun stuff that we've never been able to talk about before. Crawdad, back in a few.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Did you know that average home equity is at an all-time high, but so is average consumer debt? Even though rates are higher now, you can use your equity to pay off your high consumer debt, student loans, etc., then refi when the rates drop. Don't put off that new home purchase. When rates drop, prices will go up. Buy now and get the best price and then refi when the rates drop. This is the time to talk to the experts at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit northalabamamortgage.com for more information.
Organizations using Salesforce know how powerful the platform is and how much time, money, and headaches it saves if it's set up right and you know how to use it. Let's face it, Salesforce is complicated and time-consuming to figure out, and a lot can go wrong now and down the road without expert help. That's why most Salesforce users work with an implementation partner like Higher Echelon, so they get the absolute most out of their Salesforce investment. Higher Echelon is a 5-star Salesforce consulting partner who won Salesforce Military Hiring Partner of the Year. President Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets. He puts that experience to good use at Higher Echelon, where they pride themselves on hiring veterans. Look, not all Salesforce partners are the same. Don't put your company at risk by going with an inferior partner. Higher Echelon is the trusted partner you can count on to get you up and running and seeing returns on your Salesforce investment in a fraction of the time it would take if you go it alone. Go to higherechelon.com. That's HIGHERECHELON.com to learn more. Go higher and go Army.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at GenSuperstore.com.
It's time to get ready for game day. That means Alabama football and tailgating. Whether you're tailgating at home or at Bryant-Denny, visit Brooks & Collier for North Alabama's largest selection of premium grills and smokers like Big Green Egg, Blaze, Delta Heat, Memphis, and Traeger. Satisfy any palate with our wall of rubs and seasonings. For all your tailgating needs, visit Brooks & Collier at 813 Meridian Street or at brooksandcollier.com. An Alabama tradition for over 75 years. Roll Tide.
Take it to the house this football season with the Alabama Manufactured Housing Association. If Alabama or Auburn returns their first received kickoff in the second half for a touchdown at a home SEC game, one lucky fan will win up to a $75,000 down payment towards the purchase of a manufactured home from an authorized AMHA dealer. Don't miss your chance to take it to the house this season and win a beautiful manufactured home. Register to win today at auburntigers.com/tickettothehouse or rolltide.com/tickettothehouse. Certain terms and conditions may apply. To learn more, visit alamha.org.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
Okay, folks, we got a few more minutes with you here on the show. And before we get back into a little more Army football conversation, just a reminder that the station is giving away 2 tickets to Army-Navy. Those are probably about worth $1,000 to $1,500 this year.
Yeah, I mean, and that's no joke. I mean, I've seen several rankings of the most expensive college football ticket, and that's one or two in about every ranking that I've seen.
Big game.
Big game. So if you want to get a shot at those tickets, all you have to do is go to 977ESPN.com, click on the Army Navy ticket giveaway contest, and it will take you to a link where you'll be asked to write a tribute to the military, something about your family, something about yourself. It'll go into the hopper and a committee will judge it. And on this, you have to have it in by December 6th. We'll announce the winner, and away you will go to the Army Navy game. You and your significant other, or hey, don't take a Navy person with you,
or your football buddy,
or your football buddy. So that's happening right now. And one other thing I want to mention is this show now you're watching. We're not live on the radio because of the Alabama basketball game, but we will be live on the radio 4:30. This show will be rebroadcast 4:30 on Talk Radio WZZN.com 4:30 before the game on Saturday.
So they're listening to the recording
of
being told
that
the show that they're being listened to will be on at the time that they're listening. Okay.
Or they can, or they can, or I know it's kind of confusing.
Or we could just not mention it and say, hey,
or they could tell all their thousands of friends that if you missed it, listen to it live. So, there, take that. Well, now, Mr. Smart Alec, let's go ahead and show the audience the green sheet. Let's talk a little bit about that.
The green sheet, green is good, and it's pretty much a little heavy on Army side, but there's a big caveat that comes with it. And then
strength of schedule.
Yes, exactly. I think as every informed Army football fan knows, we don't have a real strong schedule. Right now we're 139, and to put that in perspective, there are 135 FBS teams. So that means there's a handful of FCS teams that have tougher schedules. But needless to say, coming down the home stretch, that rapidly changes. The other thing that puts that in perspective, though, we haven't just won. We've won in dominant fashions. We beat the point spread across the board.
Let me offer a comment on that real
quick.
You cannot determine who you play, but you can determine how you play.
Exactly.
Great.
And we played superlative. So we are strong across the board. Our return games, both punting, kickoff, we just don't return that many. Passing offense, we're never going to be strong. But again, we are very strong in passing efficiency. But if Notre Dame really doesn't have a vulnerability. This is one of those that we look at, and there's just not a whole lot there that we could say, that's what we point to. I mean, even turnover margin, we're number 6 in the country. They're number 2. Now, I think that's a little lopsided that they had 6 turnovers against Navy, but probably skewed their numbers. But I think if there's any advantage, it gets back to penalties. I mean, we're number 6 in the country in penalties, and 15th in the country of penalty yards per game. Conversely, they are 73 and 85th in those respective categories. So if it comes down to that kind of thing where it's a penalty difference kind of thing, that's to our advantage. But I think we've got to play Army football. I think Barrett nailed all the keys there. We've got to win the time of possession, end every series with points on the board, but we're going to need to catch some breaks. Notre Dame does not have really a weakness on their offense.
Well, let me ask you guys a question along those lines. I'll start it off with what concerns me is, what is your biggest concern about this game that might keep us from winning? The thing that scares me is the size of their wide receivers. They got some big, fast folks, and we got some great defensive backs, but they have a height advantage on us, without a doubt. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think just from a mental standpoint, North Texas was the first time all season where we had to play from behind. Now, granted, it was only three points, and that's not insurmountable. But what happens if Notre Dame jumps out to that maybe a couple touchdown or a couple score? How do our guys respond?
Mm-hmm.
You can go one or two directions. Well, yeah, I guess Notre Dame really is a heck of a lot better than us, or we hunker down and we've got something to prove. So I think this is going to be a real barometer for where our team is mentally and from a culture standpoint, and how how they respond. That's sort of a question mark because they really haven't been put in that situation all season.
Yeah, like how does the team respond when, oh man, they just scored 2 consecutive touchdowns? It's still the first quarter. What are we going to do? And I think we're going to respond well. But what concerns me is what you said, the wide receiver, the bigness of them, but their quarterback, Notre Dame's quarterback, Riley Leonard, is showing phenomenal season this year. And, he's a threat. He can run it. He can pass it primarily with the pass heavy style. So what concerns me is our defense. Now, that being said, if you fast forward this or rewind this to the last show when we talked about North Texas, what concerned me, it was the defense, the passing efficiency of North Texas defense. We seem to do a good job against North Texas. Now, Notre Dame is maybe a higher caliber team, but still North Texas was on the way up too. They were a pretty threatening team. So I think Army's defensive front, I think we can show them enough to stop them. I think it's going to be a close game. And, oh, by the way, it's in Yankee Stadium. It's going to be really cool, too. It's going to be a very nice environment. It's kind of not a home away game, even though we are the away team technically, but we're in New York. Notre Dame's far away from their fan base. I think we're going to have a majority Army fan base at Yankee Stadium for this game.
But, one other thing about this game, and I alluded to this earlier, what I liked about the North Texas game was what we didn't see. I think Coach Monken and his staff, Coach Worley and the guys, they're going to have some stuff up their sleeve that we haven't seen all year and Notre Dame won't be expecting. And by the way, one final thing, if it was me, this game, I know Coach Monken, when he wins the coin toss, he takes it in the second half. I would want to try to jump out to the lead.
Oh, that's a topic for debate. Do you take it or do you defer? I would defer it.
Yeah. One other key to the game, one stat, and I can't remember if it was Johnny Brooks or another source that pointed it out, but Notre Dame is a second quarter team. They are. They've outscored their opponents by a huge margin in the second quarter. So I think one of the keys of the game, we've got to go toe-to-toe with them in the second quarter. We can't allow the game to get out of hand going into halftime. I think if we're playing them close going into halftime, I really like our chances to take this game and dominate in the second half.
Yeah, Bailey, can we get the sprint minute here real quick?
Oh, yeah.
Get ready to rock and roll.
Beep, beep. Yeah, so the sprint minute. So Army Sprint Football beat Navy for the Collegiate Sprint Football League Championship. They went 8-0, undefeated season. Coach West and the boys over there, they actually beat Navy twice, which is the big boy football team almost had that opportunity. So congratulations to the Army Sprint Football team for taking home that championship trophy, 21-16 over Navy.
Go Swifties and go Coach West. So we got a couple of minutes left, and we all are really concerned about this game, but we got to make a
concerned. Is that a correct character?
Excited.
Barrett, are you concerned about this game?
I'm excited that Army's playing at Yankee Stadium. They're playing Notre Dame for a potential spot of the college football playoff. And for those of you who have not seen social media, we also dropped some really cool uniforms for the Army Navy game. That's looking ahead. Not want to look ahead, but it's really cool.
And they're
right
sharper
now.
than Navy's.
Very sharper than Navy.
Well, that doesn't take hard. That's
yeah.
Not
Do you want to have Rendezvous with Destiny or Fear the Bones?
Rendezvous.
Hey,
yeah, what are they thinking? I mean, what was it? Was it Fear the Goat a couple of years ago? Really?
Yeah. I bet. Give me a pick.
So, after a lot of deliberation, I think Army can go toe-to-toe with Notre Dame. I think we got the skill, we got the momentum, we got the team this year to do it. I think it's going to be a close one. I think we're going to take them into overtime, but I think we're going to come out with a but an overtime field goal to win it. 24-21 Army over Notre Dame.
Steven.
If I was picking with my head, it would be 30-15 Notre Dame, but I'm picking with my heart. Army's going to win 24-21.
Hey, there we go.
Well, if I was picking with my head, I'd shake my head and nothing would come out. So,
but it would rattle a lot.
It would rattle a lot. So I have to pick with my heart. And I too, Barrett, agree with you. I think this is going to be an overtime game, similar to what we did against Oklahoma and Michigan. And I think we're going to win on a field goal, 27-24. And Steve, I do have a question. How many days?
Sir, they're 23 in the butt days until Army beats the hell out of Navy in Landau, Maryland at FedEx Field.
You give me grief, I'll give you grief back.
Please
How
do.
about that?
It's encouraged.
Well, folks, we really do appreciate you listening. Share our show with your friends. And for those of us in the Hunts Vegas area, support your sponsors here, Nick's Restaurante, NorthAlabamaMortgage.com, and Higher Echelon. And remember this, no matter where you are and no matter what you're doing, there is a soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, Coast Guard person, or a merchant Marine man or woman standing a watch so you can enjoy your life in this great country of ours. And we will be back next week, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Go Army.
Beat Navy.
Beat Notre Dame.
Yeah, beat Notre Dame today.
Oh, yeah.
Beat Notre Dame. Beat the Irish. Okay, we're out of here. Crawdad out.